Dave knows how.
Welcome back to my channel. In this little project, I want to give some credit to Bison Workshop. Bob Mullins over there is very creative, and he has inspired me to make something out of something else. And that's the kind of thing Bob does. So let's get started on this video. So as you can see right here, we've got a lamp. And it's one of these lamps that bolts to a table or a workbench, and it had fluorescent lights in it. And we need a mic stand, and we need a mic stand for when we're doing voiceover type video work, like what we're doing right now. We've got a video running and we're doing some voiceover, and so a mic stand would certainly come in handy. I don't want one that's going to go all the way to the floor. I want one that's going to be mounted, on a tabletop, that type of thing. So we're going to use this lamp as a mic stand. So we're in the Bison Workshop fashion. We're going to take one thing, turn it into another. And that guy's really talented with doing stuff like that. He can take one man's trash and turn it into another man's treasure. So right here we're just disassembling the light fixture, taking the wiring out. We're going to save the parts because I've got several lights like this. One of which is on my workbench, and so I can always use the parts because they're kind of hard to come by. These lights are pretty old. So the hardest part was getting this thing out of there. I tried digging it with a screwdriver, but I ended up having to get the Dremel out and do a little grinding. And it's one of them funky clips. You press it down on there and then it don't come off. And there won't no getting it off without cutting it. So Dremel tool made pretty quick work of it. Got that off, and so now we're left with a hole in the end of this thing. We're going to stick it back together. Pull those wires out of there. You don't need that in there. And put that swivel head back on. And basically what we've got now is we've got a hole going up through the middle of that thing. It's about a ½ inch in diameter hole. And so we need to be able to attach the microphone to that. And so we're not going to attach a microphone directly to it. We're going to attach a shock mount, and we're going to get to building that too. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure that hole that's in the end of there. We get our dial calipers out, take a measurement, and see what that measurement is. And then we're going to cut a piece of Delrin, which is like a plastic. We're going to turn it on the lathe and turn the outside diameter so that it will press fit into that hole, and we're going to drill a hole through the middle of it and tap it to a 1/4 thread, and then we're going to put a long screw in there that will actually protrude out one end of it, and then we're going to glue this down into that slot so that we have a 1/4 bolt sticking out of the end of that thing. And then we can attach microphone, various different things like that to the end of this thing. So in our situation, we're going to actually attach the shock mount. So right here we're just cleaning out the bottom, taking the transformer out because we don't need that in there. We can save that for a spare. Of course, this thing ended up, the base wasn't big enough that it would set up on its own. So we cut a piece of plyboard, nothing fancy, cut a round circle, and we'll set the thing in the center and draw the outline with a pencil so that we can go ahead and get a general idea where it's going to go. Pre-drill some holes, use some self-tapping screws, and we're going to screw that right to the bottom of there, that piece of plywood. And there we go. All done. Amazing. All screwed on. Works great. That wide base gave it just enough area that it doesn't tip over on its own, and it's working out pretty good. Well, of course, in the Bison Workshop fashion, we can't just leave it bare wood. And knowing Bob, he'd have stain out staining it, but I'm not much on staining, so I'm just gonna put some adhesive on here and throw some foam core down on there. It's just a foam board that you can get from a hobby shop, and we're just going to use some black foam and let it adhesive down on one side. We're going to get our screws started back, and we're going to screw this rascal right back to the bottom of the lamp, which is now going to be our mic stand. Get him smoothed out, and we'll do a rough trim job here. We'll come back later and do some fine trimming to make it look better. And we'll go ahead and get a piece of foam ready and spread some adhesive, and we'll put some foam on the back side as well. So once we get the adhesive spread on there pretty thin, we don't want it on there too thick, we're just kind of going thin using tongue depressors, and I have good luck using tongue depressors on spreading glue and stuff like that, mixing glue, so I keep a lot of them on hand. And here's our other piece of foam going on the bottom. We're just going to press it down, and now we're going to go ahead and just do some fine trimming around the top piece of foam, the first piece we put on, just to kind of get it good, and we'll come back and trim the other piece later. We actually installed a rope on there, but I lost that footage. This was a project I did quite a while ago. So now, right here at the lathe, what we're going to do is we're going to build our shock mount. And we're going to build a shock mount out of a 4-inch PVC coupling. It's actually ABS. PVC typically is white, ABS is black. We use an ABS. We're going to cut this into 3 equal length parts, which would mean we'd have 3 shock mounts. And the reason why I did that was, number one, I had enough stock to do that with this one coupling. And number two, I figured the first one might not turn out too great, and the second one might not be as good, and maybe the third one would be the one that was like I really wanted it to be. So I had 3 chances to get it right, and we just went on with it like that. So right here, we're just knocking the edge off so we don't have any sharp edges. And once we get all the sharp edges knocked off, we're going to use the Craftsman Atlas lathe to indicate positions on this piece of plastic so that we can mark some positions to drill some holes. And we need to mark at approximately 1 o'clock and 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And then that's where our drill holes are going to go. And so we're going to end up with 16 holes drilled into each one of these pieces. And that is going to be the holes that we're going to use to create a cross pattern if we use something like a rubber band. Is basically what we're going to use, is like a rubber band. So we're getting it all marked up here, finding our marks so that they're very accurate and we can end up with a cross configuration. it'll make more sense to you in a minute when we show another picture of it actually put together. Right here we're drilling the holes, and so we drill 4 holes at approximately 12 o'clock, and then we're going to drill 4 holes at approximately 3 o'clock, and then we'll drill 4 holes at approximately 6 o'clock, and then 4 more holes at approximately 9 o'clock. And I say approximately because 2 of the holes will be an hour before and 2 of the holes are an hour after. And then that puts us dead center for our cross coordinates when we put the rubber band on there. So right here we're just kind of taking the chop saw and we're cutting some slits just past the hole that will actually go down and intercept those holes, and that's going to be a slot that we can slide that rubber band down into so that we can make the rubber band go on there and actually stay on there and not fall off. And we're going to cut every one of those holes, 16 of them. We're just going to cut just in front of every one of them. Now right here we're heating up a piece of metal that's got a 1/4 thread, and we're pushing it down in there. You don't want to overheat it. It will make a mess. I found that out on the first 2. And so the last one was the best one out of those. Here we are. We're going to mount the shock mount frame onto a quick connect for a tripod so that we can utilize it on a tripod. And now instead of using rubber bands, we're going to use these little doodads that women use to make a ponytail or put their hair up or whatever the case may be. They seem to be more uniform in size, and they was cheap enough. I think I paid like 99 cents for them or less up at Walgreens. So we're just snapping them through the holes, making a cross configuration. And now our mic, in this case is a H1, fits right in there. And the H1 is a combination microphone and audio recording device. So right here we're just mounting it on the tripod, and you can kind of see what it looks like, and it doesn't look bad on a tripod. In some situations you will use it on a tripod. In other situations you'll use it on the mic stand like what we have here. The mic stand, it could have been a better job. I'm sure Bob would have done a better job. But here's the mic stand, and we're in front of the mic stand. We're doing a voiceover, and the H1 microphone / audio recording device is mounted in the shock mount, and the shock mount is helping to absorb any vibration that may be in or around the area that we're recording. We've got our mic stand up on the table. You can see it here. We've added a rope around the base of it to just kind of finish it off so we won't have any raw plyboard showing. We've got this nice rope. It looks pretty good. The rubber, well, not rubber, it's actually foam. It's like a foam core board or whatever you want to call it. Looks fairly nice. It's a little dirty right now because, like I said, this project's been done long ago. I'm just now getting around to putting it together so I can put it online. The mic stand is great. The base turned out perfect. Bob, don't be disappointed I didn't paint it, and I know you would have painted it, and I wish I had painted it. I'm kind of kicking myself now for not painting the mic stand itself. It's a little scratched up, but I can always pop it off just by taking 3 screws out the bottom and paint the mic stand, and it would definitely make a better finished job. But I was so anxious to try it out and see if it worked, and then after it worked so great, I just wanted to keep using it, and I didn't want to take it apart long enough to paint it. So Don't criticize me too bad. Um, I know it's not perfect like what Bob would do over at the Bison Workshop channel. If you enjoyed this video and something like this interests you, Bob has an excellent channel over there, the Bison Workshop, where he takes all kinds of things and turns them into something else. And in some cases, he takes things that people have thrown away and he redoes them and makes them as good or better than new. He's a extremely talented individual. He's been blessed with a gift, a real true gift, and it's a lot of fun to watch his channel and just watch some of the creative aspect that he shows in doing some of the projects he does. I am totally convinced that Bob could shine up a turd and somebody would want it. I mean, he could shine a turd up so good that I'd probably want it, because he's just got that kind of gift. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, head on over to Bob's channel, check it out. I'll try to put a link in the description. I'm sure I can do that much. And if I can figure out how to put a link somewhere up here, like a lot of you guys do, I'll do that. I may not be able to figure that out because a lot of times I'm just trying to get the videos online as quick as I can. But appreciate you guys watching. Hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend, a blessed day. And Bob, if you're watching, I know you're watching, Bob. Bob, thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for motivating me to look at things more creatively and see something that's really not there that actually can be there, and making something like this. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.